and welcome to the SmackDown Preview. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by Michael Hamflett from WhatCulture, here to look ahead to tonight's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. We do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review SmackDown, but also the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As said, though, joined by Michael Hamflett to look ahead to tonight's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Slash Saturday night's main event preview as well, I suppose.
Yes. Well,
because it's the go-home show ahead of Saturday night's main event.
It is. Let's just touch on Saturday night's main event. Or indeed.
Oh my God.
To rephrase that slightly, can I call it the main event of Saturday night? We're going out and we're getting pissed in Chesterfield and Chesterfield despite rights.
It's finally here.
Many a moon ago, I asked you, probably on this podcast, whereabouts I could pick up a valve I needed. I had valve needs at the time. And you just happened to be wearing the perfect solution to my problem across your chest. Lean Gate Valves.
The fantastic Lean Gate Valves.
My favourite Chesterfield-based valve company. I've always said that.
Number one.
Lee at Lean Gate Valves. I've never ever dared stray when it came to my Chesterfield-based valve needs. And tomorrow,
yes,
I will for a day. And I love Chesterfield because I love you.
Thank you.
Ultimately, that's how it works. When you've got mates that have teams, it's one of the things that you start checking for because you've got a link to the team now. And last season, regrettably, it was Will Greig who actually did a good job for you. I will struggle to cheer for him, but I will do so if he scores because
25 goals last season.
Yeah, how many this year?
Not so many.
Yeah, you find that at competitive levels. But I won't think that. But I won't think that tomorrow. I'll be having one eye on Sunderland versus Plymouth.
Oh yeah.
In the same way Shawn Michaels does on the Blackburn Rovers, because he's a big Blackburn Rovers fan. What are you laughing at? Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on Sunderland versus Plymouth, but I will be all eyes on Chesterfield versus Port Vale.
Yes, you can see our new 37-year-old defender that we've signed.
Here, man. You need experienced heads to do a job at that level. Like, keep some of the younger players in check. Lead the
We've lost a couple in January. They've gone to
is that what it is?
Bigger and better clubs. Yeah.
What's he called?
I think you might remember it. Carl McFadzean. He's one of those journeyman players. You think he was at Blackburn recently?
Not Callum McFadzean.
No, Kyle. Maybe it's his dad.
McFadzean. I feel like he might have played for us in the League 1 years. A lot of wilderness signings.
Have a look.
We've had a McFadzean.
No. Coventry, MK Dons, Crawley, Sheffield.
That's fine. It's a different McFadzean, which is good for you. Believe me.
Oh, God, he's going to be 38 in February.
We're all in our 30s.
We're all in our 30s.
That's all right. You can do all sorts of fun things in your 30s.
Yeah.
Just don't ever get to your 40s. I know I won't. Like, it's fine. I can't wait. We'll shout out Lee.
Yes.
Today, ahead of doing it again on Monday, because we might be a bit more hungover and forget things on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
I intend to be carrying the scars of Saturday night well into Monday daytime. But enough about
Bim Pepple. That's our new signing up
I
front.
want to see Bim Pepple. Look, people tune in for a certain thing here, and I don't like the idea that people feel like they're having the time waste.
Yes, we shouldn't just waste this talking about fantastic spy rights.
About Chesterfield, despite that, we'll have plenty of it on Monday, depending on how the game goes. Yeah. We'll share our experiences of the town, the game, the day, the whole thing. Let's get on to the meat of it.
There might be some occasional videos popping up on socials. I'll try and Instagram it or whatever.
Possibly, yeah.
At Adam Wilbourn, at Michael Hamflett, of course.
We've said it in the intro. There's 2 shows this weekend. Because there's Traitors and the Traitors Uncloaked. It's final day. It's Traitors final day.
Yes, what about last night's episode, huh?
What about it? I couldn't believe that bit.
You can't. I know you haven't seen it. But it is genuinely the best show on television, and last night may well be one of the greatest episodes of television I've ever seen. No, everyone else should just not bother in 2025.
You know, no 2029 point. When you update that soundboard.
Yeah.
You should put the Traitors theme on instead of the cinema one. And just have a button that goes dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
I don't want to watch the American one. I like the British one with Claudia. What am I going to do now after
The American
tomorrow?
one's in the same house, but that's about it, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. We've sort of found some Traitors fans.
Yes.
Who've listened to our
We've
recommendations.
converted some people, haven't we?
Yeah, who've not been disappointed. Not least the ones that are across the pond, because there is an American version of it, but I don't recommend it compared to ours. Ours is the real deal.
I like Alan Cumming.
Yeah.
Yeah, like him a lot. No one's going to touch Claudia in this game.
It doesn't
Another
need...
world-class moment on last night's show.
Well, I cannot wait to watch this. It doesn't need reality TV people. It needs people.
Yeah.
Like, that's the trick of the UK Traitors, certainly. I can't speak to other ones that maybe do use real people, but typically it's from...
Preferably thick people as well.
I think the game makes you thick.
Yeah. I'd be awful at it.
I'm willing to extend generosity to the people in there.
I thought Linda was a bad traitor.
Yeah.
She turned her head. If I was a traitor and Claudia went traitors, I'd be like, yep, what do you want, love?
Hello! Oh, God. Yeah. I'd be useless at it, but it'd be fun. I think what they'll end up doing is they'll offer experiences. Like, I'm going to a Taskmaster experience.
I love that.
In February with my wife. And I think they'll do like something like a Traitors one where you can go and sit around a round table, like do a stag or a hen do, and you have like a Traitors weekend. Because it's the same setting, isn't it? You go to a house for a weekend, you get drunk, and then, because it started life as a game night thing, didn't it?
Yeah.
We were talking about this on another podcast, Mafia of it. People have different versions of it. They can market an experience.
Searching Traitors House Airbnb.
What, the Shoot Traitors House?
Yeah, hate TV show inspires 100% increase in castle searches.
Yeah. I bet as well you have to get on one of them dumbass-looking Harry Potter trains.
Oh, yeah.
The very first episode where it all looks very sort of gentrified steam railway station. You'd never get there without all sorts of expense.
Ardross Castle is where they shoot, apparently. I do have the Traitors board game. Maybe I'll bring it in one day.
That's the only time I've ever wanted to play a TV spin-off board game.
Yeah.
And not even because I think it'd be any good, but it's just the game, right? It's just the Traitors.
And we can already envisage what us playing the Traitors would look like. Shout out, as always, to Brian of the SmackDown Photoshop.
This is excellent.
Who has photoshopped us around the Traitors table, surrounded by some of our favourite SmackDown Preview guests.
Yeah, guests, I think it's fair, yeah.
There's no one better to be Claudia than our wonderful producer, Adam Nicholas.
Yep.
Only
person that matches her energy style-wise, I would say.
Yes. It's me. It's me, you, going from right to left here to conclude with a couple of our favourites.
Yeah.
It's me, you, Lightning off of Gladiators.
Makes sense.
Big E.
Yeah.
Love that man.
He'd like you'd be a faithful.
Yes.
Or the best traitor.
Jet, who would probably, no spoilers, but probably do what happened the conclusion of one of the seasons of Traitors in terms of someone believing someone right until the very end.
Yeah.
She'd get me.
You could get got by Jet, couldn't
you?
Yeah.
Will Grigg, always on fire, of course.
I consider him somewhat traitorous when he played Sunderland.
And then our two favourite people, Tony Mowbray and Chester the Field Mouse. That's the Chesterfield mascot.
Indeed.
Who I always was suspicious of, to be honest.
Tony Mowbray has taken 1 point from 2 games at West Brom so far. And I think the latitude will be extended as long as he wants.
Yes.
I think like 1,000 bags of Revels got delivered to his to the stadium or something, just to keep him sweet for the duration of the season.
What intended?
It wasn't, But do you know why it wasn't intended? Because that is the only thing me and Tony Mowbray disagree on, is Revels.
Really?
Don't like him. Why introduce risk into such a nice time? Like, if you want a bag of sweets or chocolate or anything, I know you're a Skittlesman.
Skittles Chewies all the way, baby.
Nicholas, we've been to enough shops together, and why am I struggling to land on what you would pick?
Because I am a pig who likes everything.
That's
I have a wide plethora of preferences. Also, is risk into a nice time not literally the entire plot of the Traitors?
Yes.
Yeah, no, the nice time is for us. Like, the players are clearly having a terrible time. Maybe you're right, actually. Maybe I like that, but more from our television reality shows than chocolates. Because because Revels has got at least one in that I actively don't like. Is it got a raisin one?
There's coffee, raisin, orange.
It's the raisin one. I could cope with the coffee one.
Yeah.
I also don't think those flavours complement each other. So what if they get mixed in the bag? What if there's like a bit?
But you can't never do a handful, can you?
People will. We've discussed this about
Monsters.
crisps. We've discussed this about crisps. People just do it, and I don't know what the problem is. But like what's
wrong with you?
The rub off of flavours to other flavours. What?
Michael Hamflett's rub-off.
Yeah, my rub-off analysis is that even if you like the orange one, the idea that the raisin flavour gets rubbed off onto the orange.
Well, that
technical
doesn't
term.
work, that though, does it? That's not the same because it's a coating of.
Nah,
Yeah.
but the
It's chocolate. It's chocolate around each
chocolate
flavour.
around each flavour. The flavour's inside the
internal flavour is stronger.
Raisin not known to be a dominating flavour either.
Unless it's put in a situation where raisins don't belong, which
Okay.
is chocolate. I don't like fruits in my chocolate because they become the flavour of the chocolate. It does.
Yeah.
If you have a Cadbury's fruit and nut bar, right? Or a Cadbury's.
Insane.
Yeah, I've never
Insane.
been a fruit and nut guy. But I have to say, I disagree. I know people have the real strong passions about this, and you know how much I hate this food discourse, but I like chocolate raisins, man. I'm not gonna. I am who I am.
I'll go
just
for a
let me
bag of
live.
chocolate raisins.
Let me live. I like chocolate
Everyone can
raisins.
enjoy it. Yeah, this the example I was going to make, right? Because like what
Not
you
in
like,
a chocolate bar though. Literally just
No.
chocolate raisins.
Just
I don't want them
actually
anywhere
bottom
near
of
any
it.
chocolate bar.
No, I
Nothing
don't want any
chocolate. I love
surprises in there.
chocolate peanuts, you can't, Nicholas. I
can't,
wish you
but yeah.
could, but like they're unbelievable. A fruit and nut or a whole nut.
I
Again,
don't know what I'm missing, mate. So it's
you wouldn't get involved.
Yeah.
You're wise not to. But a fruit and nut and a whole nut, right? I've had before. Somebody bought me a whole nut, and I spat at them. No, I didn't. No, I was like, thank you so much for this kind gesture, but
Just straight in the bin.
I'd-
Like
I'd-
Medusa.
it was like in an old job, somebody had done like a chocolate run at the shop, and I'd asked for a dairy milk whole nut, and they'd picked up a fruit and nut by mistake. And these are the same people.
I'm not paying you.
Well, these are the same people that put salt and vinegar on your chips without asking. You know, some people just don't
Yeah.
respect the business. And so they were like, oh, sorry. Have it. And I hate that too. It's like there's no attempt to like make up for this
Yeah.
grave error. We're just not friends anymore.
I want what you're eating now.
Yeah. So, and again, it was a job, and I'd probably not been there that long, and I tend to drop into soft-ass people-pleasing mode rather than saying what I actually think and feel. So I think I
Bottle it up for a podcast years later.
exactly that. I got a problem. Like, so I snapped the blocks off, and
Is that you? A euphemism of you chinning the person? I'll snap their bloody blocks off.
I delicately bit into it, right? Made sure that there was no raisin going immediately into my mouth.
could
And
say
you bite.
this was not a block party.
Oh, that's good stuff. They certainly weren't invited to my cribs, any of them. Like, because I've moved a couple of times. I bit into it, and I made sure there was no raisin in my mouth. And then I had a look, and I picked the raisin out,
Okay.
and just thought, oh, right, I like whole nuts, so we'll get on with this now. All I could taste was raisin. It does have
Okay.
more of a dominating flavour when you don't like a thing.
It's because you're trying to find it, though, isn't it?
Mate, yeah, I'm not. It's the taste buds and the brain working together against me. I just want to have a nice time. But
Let us know your favourite and least favourite rub-offs in the comments.
it's like, if we can move this to savoury, last weekend on an otherwise
Move this to SmackDown.
flawless
Never.
birthday weekend.
Never, ever.
Yeah, sorry.
Flawless birthday weekend. And even the outcome of this little problem was flawless. We were getting a pub dinner as requested by Charlie as part of his birthday weekend
Genius.
package. And my son wanted a cheeseburger, and he's developed a few of my annoying food quirks, which we are trying to like make him change his ways on, because this is no way to live, son. But he doesn't like a lot of the gubbins they put on a burger and stuff. He's not a ketchup guy and all that. So I was just like, I ordered, and it's like, can I have a plain cheeseburger? And this is great, because they're all sat down, so I get to throw them under the bus. Kids, you know, like, sorry, can you take all the relish off, as if I haven't asked for that for 39 years. Like,
They want it on mine as well. I mean, I'm not bothered, obviously, but you know.
it's just the way they are. So he gets a cheeseburger, and it's fine. And he's halfway through it. He's eating quite a lot of the chips on the plate as well. And then the weirdest thing, half the burger, I don't know how this happened, is a barbecue bacon burger.
What?
I swear this is true.
What about the rub-off?
Right? Well, I think it's the first point of rub-off that he spotted it and gone like, what's this rub-off? Dad, what's this rub-off? It's exactly what he said. Mum, Dad, the rub-off. He's bit in, he's like, ugh. Like, what's the problem? So he's gone through half, and I know this. I live this awful life to know that, like, you are not eating it. I've told you the Greg's breakfast story where one time, like, the ketchup was on the
Like
bag.
a horror story.
The ketchup
We've all
was on
heard
the
of
bag. The bag
Greg
got on my thumb. The thumb got up my nose, and I had to throw a sandwich away. Like, this has come up. It was one of the sadder commutes.
Thumb got stuck up my nose, actually.
So the rub-off was revealed. I said, what the f has happened here? So I took it back to the bar. I'm not a complainer, but, you know, there are times when it's like, there's something that needs to be done about this.
This isn't right.
I'm going to call the staff before I call the cops. So, like, they were like, we're really sorry, pull the receipt up. Yeah, I can see it says plain cheeseburger. I have no idea how this has happened. And I'm like, well, me neither, because I know he wouldn't have eaten like a plain cheeseburger. So anyway, the whole plate goes back. But he's eating quite a lot of the chips. And what's returned, and because it's a kid, like my youngest son's 9, again, he doesn't boot off. He's not that arse, but I certainly am. A full new plain cheeseburger and plate of chips comes out, right? And
Jackpot.
Like, Charlie's buzzing because he's ordering dessert next. And I'm like, you 3 get dessert. My dessert is second chips. Like, I didn't get like an ice cream or a piece of cake or anything like that.
Whose birthday was this after all this?
Well, the whole weekend kind of felt like a family birthday, put it like that. But yeah, a plain cheeseburger arrives with a full new portion of chips.
I love that.
And I was just like, never.
What a life there, aren't you?
Never in my life has my fussiness and my annoying taste buds benefited me in such a way. And like already he's winning off it. I might start bringing my rub off from home. Just like,
Please don't.
Good God. Actually, just before we get into literally the SmackDown review.
Yeah.
It is another birthday, of course, of one of your sons today, Michael Hamflett. Do you know this?
I'm
Oh, bollocks, I'm in real trouble
You
here.
should remember this.
hit me.
Your other son, your third son,
My third son.
also named after one of your other sons.
Is it today?
It's
Oh, it's
today.
just
I knew it was
JB.
January.
What a great dad you are.
Happy birthday, son.
Hey.
Josh Brown
Brown.
of WhatCulture. I didn't realise it was today. I thought it was next week. Thank you, Nicholas. I'll send him a message
Let's
later
say
on.
happy birthday to him on here. Maybe that'll recover it.
He'll never
definitely
see this.
He'll definitely not see this, will
Happy
he?
birthday, Josh. I've scheduled the tweet, but I'll probably just send it now.
Yeah.
I'll move the clock forward thing and I'll send it straight away. Happy birthday, mate. Have a fantastic day. That explains why the studio was so free. I mean, that explains why you're off today. You'll never watch this, will he?
Happy birthday,
He
JB.
will when I point him in this direction for this
Yeah.
huge pop of you not even
What's he
remembering
doing?
his birthday.
Just skip the first 17 minutes, you'll get to the birthday shout out.
Josh Brown, right? We've talked about.
No, hang on. There you go. There.
Thank you, Josh Brown. We've talked about this in the office. That's okay. There is a trip that Josh Brown is taking this year that involves America
yes.
and stuff like this. And I'll not go into any more details than that for other reasons. But needless to say,
And God
he
bless
had
the United States.
nothing to do with him. We had a long discussion about, wouldn't it be wacky if we ended up in a bar in a place having a pint and this, and probably won't happen, but like, it was a nice thing to think about. And it occurred to us both in that moment, it was proving easier for us to arrange a pint halfway across the world in a state in America than it was to get one in Newcastle. So I will say the next opportunity, which will be 2028 or something, we'll get a pint over your birthday, Josh, but have a really, really wonderful day, whatever it is you're up to. Do you know what he's doing, Nicholas?
I don't know because he's obviously off today because it's his birthday.
Yeah. I've
For my birthday, as a little gift, I like to come in.
I've given up trying to organise the 4 of us going for a drink together because you remember the last time I insisted that we were going to hang out lots and lots?
I remember it well.
Oh, yeah, caused the pandemic, didn't you?
Yeah, Christmas 2019. I said, next year, I want to come to some gigs with you boys. We're all going to hang out a bit more.
Come with gigs, Wilbourn.
Oh.
Will Giggs.
So, before we get to...
Your country is terrified.
Before we get to reveling in SmackDown...
Good stuff.
We have to pick our...
Which is what it feels like, because you could pick into, so you don't know what you're going to get.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to get new Bloodline, you're going to get Women's Division, you're going to get Chelsea Great. There's so many choices. The only thing you don't
Solo
want...
Sikoa.
And plenty of rub-off too.
Yeah.
There is.
Or they could just be, there's only 2 matches announced. Some awesome match announced after we released this, like last week with Big Jim and Mello.
Yeah, the SmackDown GM, can't remember his name, is playing fast and loose with this 3 hours of television he typically needs to fill.
Yeah. But before we get to that, we have to vote on Brian's Traitors X SmackDown Preview or WhatCulture Wrestling podcast logo. I've got them there, right? We'll call them A, B, C, and D.
Right.
We've both already cast our votes.
Right.
Which way are we doing this? Okay.
You've got a black cover on yours, haven't you? Right.
Yeah, I'll do it that way.
It's going to be red because my thing might come on then. So.
Mine doesn't say the bloodline, though, unfortunately. Not yet.
Right, okay.
So, after the count of 3, we will reveal which logo we both prefer. And let's see.
You have to do this smart because do it one at a time because I'm going to have to zoom in on you. Otherwise, nobody's going to be able to see you.
And
Okay.
nothing's even
I'm written on my phone.
Oh, great. So it's just a proper
Ceremonial, yeah.
I'll just shut up and
Who are you voting for? Or one?
Okay, together.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. D.
Hey, what
Oh, okay, I was trying to save myself a little bit of work there.
I'm
But,
really sorry, is it busy today?
yes, unquestionably, it's the Traitors logo. Skew whiff with the headphones on, no doubt.
How's the actual...
The vote we are winning. 50% of votes says D. Still 16 hours left at time of recording.
Yeah.
But that one's by far my favourite.
Lush, isn't it?
I can't believe it's all going to be over after tonight.
It's going to make me think now the Traitors hood is actually the headphones from our podcast as well.
Yes.
I think we'd have done a good job on Cloaked, you know. I got no problem with Ed Gamble. I got no beef with Gamble. But I just think we could have given him a run for his money.
Next year.
It doesn't feel like a podcast, does it?
Mm.
And it's supposed to be.
But
harnessing the vibe.
If Claudia was listening to this podcast, she'd say, Michael and Adam, what the hell are you doing? The traitors are laughing at you. Why aren't you talking about SmackDown yet?
That's good. That's what she would say.
That is how she says it and what she'd say.
That's what they do say in the comments.
Yeah. That's why the timestamps have come in.
It was necessity. We made Nicholas's day worse.
Love you.
We'll title this one, Nicholas, R.I.P. The New Bloodline. Reports today saying that they're not going to be going by that name anymore. Understandably, there is only one tribal chief, of course, Roman Reigns, who's having a acknowledgement ceremony on Monday. It'd be a shame if someone crashed that 24/7. But what is the future
Quiet about that, haven't they?
of the new blood? Too quiet for me. What is the future of the new bloodline? Obviously, Tama Tonga in action against L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
Tonight, Jacob Fatu, Braun Strowman at Saturday night's main event. But Solo, I don't know, losing a bit of confidence.
Yeah. We talked about this in the review, didn't we? There was a sort of, the question felt like it had been answered. The question being, how would you even really have a new bloodline in the wake of Roman beating Solo conclusively, taking back the Flaaaaair, all of that sort of stuff? Well, you don't have a new bloodline. The name's gone.
No.
And what you can now start doing is working towards a split and trying to either just pick your lane and go with it, or, and this would be my preference, initially gauge the audience a bit to see the right lane. Those two lanes being, Solo Sikoa has galvanized the Tongans against Jacob when he sees that he has become far too powerful to control and kind of awesome without him. And they kind of play heels to Jacob's inevitable babyface turn because he's this guy that even when he's terrifying, you want to love him.
Yeah.
And he's
Want to give him a cuddle.
He's a wrestler that generates like cheers even when it's like in shock and awe. Or Jacob is so terrifying that you lean into that side of Jacob and it's him kind of taking the power away from Solo in the same way Solo kind of did in Roman's absence. And as and I apologize for whoever it was that I was talking about with this on X, because I can't remember the exact count, but I feel like there's a few people we've had this with. What has now become my new Roman says yeet of the new bloodline, which is Jacob going, I loved you, Solo.
Ooh.
Or I hate you, Solo, for
yeah.
the turn. The setting up of that, being able to subvert that catchphrase.
How would he say it? How would he say it?
Oh, sorry, the original catchphrase,
Yeah.
the one he says it is, I love you, Solo.
And what would he say in the future?
I hate you, Solo.
What if he's doing that, the iconic pose, but it is in fact to set up the playground death blow
Corey Graves?
known as the Jobby Jabber.
Sorry?
Did you experience an epidemic of Jobby Jabbers?
I've not. Have you any idea about this, Nicholas?
Jobby Jabber.
Jobby Jabber?
Right. Well, ask Murray about this when we get back in the office.
I was going to say, isn't your Jobby?
This came down from Scotland. This travelled to a school in Scarborough via a Scottish lad that started at our school, and it briefly became the thing that you were most scared of at lunchtime, right? The Jobby Jabber, I didn't invent it, is where somebody comes up
Double
behind...
J, yeah, as we call it.
I certainly didn't. I wouldn't want these two things being confused. Somebody comes up behind you.
Someone double J and you double D.
Up the ass gooch region.
Sorry.
That's
Excuse
correct.
me? What?
So like...
Oh,
you
your
might-
hands are
you might be
clasped
stood
like
there,
so, like
and the perpetrator appears like
Traitor.
Jacob, then goes like that, and then goes woof, creating the sensation of a wedgie without the pulling of the pants. And
What is
I
this?
saw somebody... I'm not going to name the originator of the Jobby Jabber, but I will name this person. I saw a
Let's
lad-
call him Mr. Murray.
a guy called Lee Stonehouse, who I went to school with, sat on a picnic bench being consoled in tears because he was in that much pain from a hit-and-run Jobby Jabber, right? So,
Sorry about your damn ass.
yeah, very much. He was in real trouble because he'd been...
Yeah, I thought you were going to slap nuts, but no, apparently
up the ass and gooch.
Don't isolate that. That's absolutely fine.
Never
That AI Tony Khan thing's got nothing on what we could drop.
was jabbed, never jabbed. I didn't, you know what I mean? I was aware that it was going on. It's a bit like when, like...
It's like a politician's defense. I was aware these things were going on, but I had no participation in it.
I was witness to it. I may have sometimes laughed along, but I did not partake. Yeah, I did never leave myself exposed for my jobby to be jabbed, nor did I jab a jobby.
How's this relate to the bloodline? That's how, what? Solo
That's
turns
how
on...
the turn happens.
Oh, sorry.
He stood behind him, jobby jabber.
Sorry, it just feels like the like in Gladiator where it's like they're waiting to see if he's gonna die or not, and it does the thumbs in the middle. And it's like thumbs up or thumbs down, so the hands are just like in the middle. Job up, jobby down.
In wrestling, it would be a jobber jabber, wouldn't it?
Of course.
Because you beat up losers with it.
I don't think I'd find myself saying this, but I think I prefer your former suggestion, which is babyface Jacob Fatu. I never envisaged saying that, but I just think, like, if you have Jacob Fatu or betray Solo to take over the tribal chiefdom, even though he definitely doesn't have it, I don't know whether you do the match with Roman first, for example, between Jacob Fatu and Roman, or what. But that's a money match that I don't want to throw away. But I don't want it to have Tama and Tonga being the sort of extras to Jacob Fatu, because my concern then was a bit like they did with like Overfemi on NXT. They'll have the temptation to be like, well, maybe he can sell a little bit more. No.
Yeah.
I want him to just be a one-man wrecking crew, and I think it'd be far easier for people to, I mean, they already do love him, and hate Solo and his little Weasley mates.
I think the...
Solo, like, thinking, I know what it feels like when you're setting up to take someone's...
Yeah.
And he's never suggested that he was going to take over the throne from... He was just defending Solo last week and cutting a promo going, just give us some goddamn respect. I can't believe you just done that to Solo.
And that's ultimately...
Solo's getting so paranoid.
It's how you spin it. That's a babyface trait, isn't it? Because it's loyalty.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn was loyal to Roman Reigns for as long as
2 years ago
justify.
yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, the trial of Sami Zayn.
Solo! I watched that. I loved it.
That was it. That was the start of the line and sand start of the creative boom, and it'd been pretty good before that. But there were still a few little things that needed dealing with in 2022, and that was it. Raw's Triple X. That was when you knew. That was when you knew the good times were back.
So how does that factor into tonight? Tama Tonga versus L.A. Knight.
Yeah, they should.
I mean, it's probably going to factor in Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman, let's be honest.
They've been a bit wet with the finishes lately.
Yeah.
So there could be like some rubbish DQ where, Braun comes in.
LA Knight steals one.
Do you know what?
And then they kick the crap out of him.
I'm going to double down on WWE doing a bad finish and a little cheat code of days gone by. The match gets thrown out due to dual interference, gets turned into a tag match, and like Tama Tonga gets pinned in the tag.
Okay.
Like, so you get a bit of a singles, and then like Braun gets to pin Tama, and yeah, not to sort of steal a bit of a collision bit here, but you know, if Braun can pin Tama Tonga,
well,
then on Saturday,
pin one member of the new bloodline. Yeah, I could see that happening easily.
Don't like it, but I just
I'm buzzing about that match on Saturday though.
Yeah, this is the other thing about Jacob Fatu as well. Why
we won't have to review it. We won't have to review if this match goes all schmozzy.
Yeah, we'll be covering Saturday night's main event in full and any sort of extra bits that happen on SmackDown that are worth a mention.
Are you going to be on the show or no?
Probably, because he's advertised.
Very briefly.
You sense that he was initially going to be the guy in the middle. I think Shawn Michaels is a better shout, by the way, when you sort of stack up all the reasons why. But
Jesse Ventura's going to be on it again, isn't he?
Yeah, he's promoted his appearance. Maybe he just goes on commentary and just shoots on Hogan being a grass in 86. That'd be funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Never in a time where you could probably turn... I would say America is probably politically pro-unions and strikes in its current state. But this would be the time.
Yes.
Have a little bit of a pop.
Let's talk about...
He ratted me out in 86. Like Joe Testa, I was like, is that right, Jess? Oh,
Wade, help. Let's talk Cody KO.
Yeah.
Probably going to have another pull-apart brawl, let's be honest, on SmackDown tonight.
On site.
But, I mean, I was going to say what's going to happen. I probably should just ask you, what Kevin Owens, Hart, Michaels related thing is he going to do tonight?
So, yeah, we've had the Winged Eagle. He put the jacket on Monday.
He had the son of an electrician T-shirt last week, was it?
It was pretty good. Could he kick Cody's leg out of his leg tonight? Target a knee. Lean towards Owen rather than Brett, but it's still heart-related stuff ahead of Saturday. Could he try and put Cody Rhodes through a nearby barbershop's window? Could he?
Cody's getting a trim ahead of the match.
No. They, having last week been beaten up by the Bloodline, Carmella Hayes realises that in order to get somewhere on SmackDown, it's time to stop running his mouth and start rebuilding bridges. And he goes and he meets Trick Williams, who's getting a soft launch main roster call up at the barbershop they used to frequent.
Yes.
Together. And they're having a bit of a moment, and it's like some memories in this barbershop. But, you know, we know what happens in barbershops in wrestling. And then the fight breaks out between Cody and KO, like bursts into the shop. And then Kevin Owens puts Cody through it ahead of the contract signing. Marty Jannetty took 6-7 months off. Cody recovers within 24 hours.
Yeah, he'll be fine for Saturday nights for the contract signing, isn't he?
Marty wasn't just recovering.
What do you think the addendum is, by the way?
I don't know. So we've got, what have we got already? Let's look at the clues. Ladder match.
Yes.
Both belts.
Yes, yeah, they're going to are they surrender them on Saturday?
Yeah, Shawn Michaels to oversee the contract signing, but no involvement otherwise. Is it going to be?
I'm going to let my heart rule my bald head.
What about this? Consider the lineup thus far. Could it be that the loser is permitted entry into the Royal Rumble?
But can't challenge the champion?
Oh, bingo! I like that. Bingo! For all, whoever he is. I can't remember his name.
Who?
You had one gimmick. One.
I'll bleep it. Hang on.
Starting again from
yeah. Is that a podcast that's now?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Traitors, Chesterfield?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. The idea that them two fighting is kind of wrecking SmackDown. And something's got to keep them apart. Something's got to give. He's tried desperately to transfer either of them to Raw, but Postman Pierce is having none of that. So he says, I've put this addendum in because I'm happy for the loser to enter the Royal Rumble, but it's with the proviso that I can't just have you coming back to each other. What if he's going to be champion? I can't make you the challenger. Here's the rule.
But if Kevin Owens loses the ladder match earlier on in the night, that would mean that he's in the Rumble and so's Sami Zayn.
Exactly. And I don't know if you noticed this on Raw, but when Kevin Owens was asking for Sami Zayn's help, I sensed that he wasn't necessarily being 100% sincere. I don't think he was on the level.
Plus, Kevin Owens can shoot on Roman Reigns entering that Rumble that year.
Yeah.
Like, I see. Cody, you're going to be even more like your good mate Roman, losing a title match and then entering the Rumble later on in the night.
You love that, wouldn't you? That's one of your favourite bits of bad WWE lore.
It's so
because the fan reactions.
It's a fan reaction compilation of because it was what Joe and Finn were the two favourites at 30 there. It's Roman again.
In the era.
But you left. But you lost.
Honestly, man, like, what was it?
They were just getting away without, weren't they, back then?
They were,
what are you going to do? What else are you going to watch? No Traitors, so.
There isn't a number 2 promotion. The Traitors. The music. Just like, it was like somebody being, like hearing their own death rattle.
Yeah.
Like, I never minded that Shield music. And frankly, like, I popped for it at WrestleMania. The Shield means something to me. But he was in such a pit at that point that even...
It sounded slower than usual.
God, stop it.
That was my first, having come back to wrestling, that was my first, like, I lost it. I was absolutely furious.
Smash your house up.
Yeah, I was like, because it's the Rumble, and I think it might have been one of the few Rumbles that I had enjoyed up to that, or like had the chance to be a part of it.
You've been at Dallas the prior WrestleMania, so NXT was in the blood.
In the blood, like.
Black and gold blood.
You're ready for the new ones coming up, and for it to be him.
Was that Randy who won that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was getting away with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Randy getting the not Roman pop was something. It was like, all right.
Awful.
Ironically, this year, people are like, I quite like him to win that Rumble. Go and challenge Cody.
Yeah. It's
so weird.
It's fascinating factor, isn't it? Like him being in it.
Big Randy.
I'll take anyone, even you, Randy Orton.
Aye. Roman Reigns, man. Didn't even get the privilege of getting to see him because obviously they would cut to it. if he'd have just rode one of them little boops down at the ring, that would have been a funny visual, but he couldn't,
I'll never forget as well their obsession with Roman, over the years. Turned out all right in the end.
Yep.
And like you compare the reaction to that to like the reaction to, let's say, Punk return at the end of that Survivor Series when people are like filming and some of them are walking out.
Yeah.
What do I bet? Rather than people's faces dropping.
Satisfied customers versus browbeaten ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, God. I don't think, I could be proven wrong about this, now my hands up if I am wrong. I don't think there is a single number 30 in either Rumble this year that could disappoint on that scale.
No.
I think you could do the thing where if people are waiting for a surprise and they feel like they haven't had that surprise over the course of the match, that's one thing. But
Dolph Ziggler.
Well, this is it. Like, I just don't think the way that certainly the men's field is being stacked and the potential of the women's match, even though Bayley and Nia Jax's the only announcement. But check out a video of me and Wilbourn running down a potential 30 and a few surprises.
Releasing that as a podcast today as well.
A couple of videos and podcasts going out about that. There is at very least a range of women to bring in, both off the roster and in surprise, like surprise entry slots peppered throughout. Not a match defined by it, but there is 28 spaces going. So I just think I just can't imagine reactions as vitriolic as that one. I can't. I don't think they've got it in them, but we'll see.
Also set to continue tonight. I'm fast. I just love this. I've just crowbarred this into our preview because there's no word on it, and they're going to be busy next week with a tag title defense, of course. Naomi's investigation looks set to continue.
Yeah.
I really want this episode of SmackDown. Let's get not too silly, but let's have a bit of fun with it. Because what was they said last week? Like, any developments, Naomi? Nah, can't seem to crack the code on this investor who attacked Jade Cargill investigation. What if this week Bianca's like, right, I've spoken to the SmackDown GM. I can't remember what his name is, at least.
No. Me neither.
And he said, I know you're very important to this show, but you can have the night off. You can have the night off. Come in, but I want you to be in doing your homework, basically. You can't leave school, but you also ain't got class. You just got a free period, effectively, to sit and do your research on Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, right? Or spend that time on the investigation into Jade Cargill.
Cracking the kid.
And strangely enough, Naomi's really keen to make notes on Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson.
Yeah. Before ultimately trying to pin the blame on them next week ahead of the tag title.
Probably one of them, if anything.
Lash Legend. I'll say. Could they? Because no WWE show has yet. Why would it? I'm being illogical. There's only one time that WWE has paid any kind of tribute or homage to the late, great, wonderful David Lynch. And that was on SmackDown with the Fashion Files when Breezango would do a weekly, and it was honestly one of the early highlights of me working here was doing any kind of SmackDown coverage where you could have fun slowing down the Breezango board that week and see the various in-jokes and the various crime shows they were aping at the time, and they had a Twin Peaks week, and it was frankly amazing that you were seeing Twin Peaks references. Just like out in the open on 2017 SmackDown. Yeah. It's like, oh, that was a good Twin Peaks segment. Right, anyway, back to Jinder Mahal, WWE champion. You couldn't believe it. Bring that back for 1 week and this week only in tribute to David Lynch. Have a Twin Peaks style. Like, have Jade Cargill now suddenly, she wasn't on a car, she was wrapped in plastic, like Laura Palmer. And just have them, like, Naomi have, like, sort of the coffee and the donuts set up and, like, have a full-on, I'm talking, like, gumshoe detective.
Yes.
Set of suspects on the board in the background with a little bit of red.
String, yeah.
Let's if we're gonna like have a lot of fun with it, and she's determined to put somebody else in the frame, let's start doing it.
Yeah.
Big picture of Bayley, like with a little caption saying "Escapes to Raw?" ? Like, I don't know.
Who was it? Someone tweeted at us, didn't they, a while back, saying basically some clue that suggests it was, or it was alluded to the fact that it looks like it was Bianca. Like, oh, Jay says, oh, the last thing I saw before I blacked out was a really long braid or whatever. And it turns out that
she was in the ring, so like she was wrestling at the time.
Yeah, it's kind of a pretty good alibi, but nevertheless, I don't trust you, Naomi.
Do you know what's going to get her in the end?
What?
Like
Jade Cargill, probably.
Well, yeah, The police have done, it was a wintry night, a little bit of dusting, bit of snow on the ground, and the police have noticed some footprints in the snow and have done like the various tests that they do and all that, but nothing. They've not been able to find anything, no DNA, nothing like that. But the last thing Jade remembers is looking up, and the footsteps she did see walking away flashed green, then pink, then yellow, then blue, then orange. And it was like,
I was going to say, them going, Bianca saying, I've got in touch with the police, and they've taken some footprints out of the snow. And they was like, that's weird. I thought all the snow prints, whatever they are, whoever's they are, would have been covered back over with the snow. Yeah, whoever was stepping in the snow had light-up shoes that melted them somewhat, melted the snow and just preserved their footprints.
This is like Columbo, because you don't know how he's going to figure it out. You've seen the murder take place, you've seen the attack, but you don't know how he's going to do it.
Yes.
And we've Columboed it for WWE.
Just one. Just one more thing.
Just one more thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Or they use a UV light and it's got loads of Naomi's like glow stuff on Jade. Because you couldn't see it in the normal light, but you use the UV.
Yes.
Oh. It's just like Naomi was here.
Yeah.
You fool!
I knew it would get me.
I made some invisible ink out of me and piss. William Regal taught me how.
Now, in the tag team division, men's version, it is the Motor City Machine Guns versus Pretty Deadly. Hey, yes, boy!
I'm gasping for air, mate.
I mean, I'm hoping Apollo Crews gets his AS handed to him again tonight.
Yeah. Or handsome asses out himself. That's not right.
That's the phrase we all use.
Yeah. Apollo Crews delivering jobby jabbers to DIY. Johnny Jabber.
Tonight I'm handing out asses on SmackDown. They win this to get the title shot, right?
It was impossible not to think of the visual when, like, Steve Austin would say, I'm going to break my foot up your ass.
Yeah.
The Rock. Like, I would think of, like, Sid's boot in the broken, or Ali Catch, get well soon, Ali Catch. The completely broken.
Yes,
ankle,
twisted.
Leg, whatever. Still attached to the leg, but completely separated. A bit like Cope's neck.
Yeah.
From Dynamite. And then inserted up the anus of The Rock. I couldn't think of it as just a fight.
No.
I'm going to break my foot up your ass, The Rock. I think the order of words are slightly different there. Oh, you didn't say that. He wasn't Bret Hart. That was all I could think of.
Yeah, it was
like
weird.
A loose
Weird visual.
Sid shoe. Sphincter.
But The Rock, and all, he used to ask for that, though, didn't he? Dust it off, turn it sideways, and stick it straight up your candy.
Yeah.
So Steve Austin was like, well, look, if you that's what's on the menu. Like, asked and answered.
Surprise.
Maybe that's where Rock got it from. He took the imagery and he's like, no, I can sell some T-shirts. He's like, can you? I don't want that one. I'll keep Austin 316, thanks.
I think in this match, there's going to come a moment where the ref goes down and DIY run out and effectively help Pretty Deadly here. They've finally come to their aid.
A bit.
Because SmackDown GM, can't remember what his name is, has said, oh, no, this isn't a number one contenders match. This is just, for positioning in the tag division. They run down, help Pretty Deadly, beat up the Motor City Machine Guns, or at least try to, and then grab the mic and say, this is it. This is the number one contenders match. This counts now. And then obviously Pretty Deadly still lose.
Yeah, I like the idea of them. Well, like the sort of, I can't believe I'm making this comparison. This is the incredibly lightweight version of MJF wanting Jeff Jarrett to win the title so he could beat him for it easily in AEW, isn't it? Like the Guns will more than happily use Pretty Deadly to get all their rivals off their back. It's one of them plans that doesn't really work when you boil down into it, because why not just try and manipulate a better team?
Yes.
But they've gone for in their minds, it's like, well, who's the easiest team for us to beat? Pretty Deadly. What do we have to do in order to get to that point? Have Pretty Deadly dominate the division. There's creating obstacles for yourself. But that's what we're getting. What if, after all of this, they subvert it a bit as well, and it's Johnny Gargano kind of gets knocked out and like Ciampa's the difference maker. He hates them. He hates all of this, but he's like, sod it, and he just drills Alex Shelley with a big knee or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think the match itself, even if it's just left to its own devices, it will be really good. Motor City Machine Guns are class
Left
and Pretty
to
Deadly.
its own devices, it's probably good.
Good.
Pet Shop Boys.
Pretty Deadly are very entertaining as well.
Speaking of Neil Tennant from the Pet Shop Boys,
Sorry?
I should be saving this for the one with Sidge, actually, but we've got another Friday Dadley discussion coming later on. And in a couple of weeks ago, we were asked about our favourite favorite 80s songs.
Oh, yes, I saw this kicking off on Twitter.
I did see this, actually.
And majority rule in this room, mainly because one person had access to Wikipedia and says you've got a laptop in front of
In
him.
my defense, I literally did what I always do with you three, the bare minimum.
Stop listening.
And, I mean, yeah, what was that, sorry? And literally just typed in whatever, this album, and it popped up there. I didn't even click on the page, it just popped up.
Just the dates.
And it said whatever it said, which was not supportive of your answer.
So was
but
this
then
you
someone
guessing?
did a proper deep dive, didn't it?
You were arguing about whether or not it was 80s or not.
Well,
Because it was 89,
no
wasn't it?
argument about it. I pitched 1989's Getting Away With It by Electronic, released in 1989 as one of my favourite songs of the 80s. I was then shouted down by, not microphone, but by Michael Sidgwick, and then corrected by Adam Nicholas. And I had no legs to stand on at this point. It's like, well...
Corrected by a very... I was the voice, I would like to point out, but not the information. That
Both of them had laptops. All I had was my apparently correct knowledge. And that wasn't good enough for the room. And then some people did some sleuthing on my behalf. And the case, very easily... What year did that come out? 1989. Case closed. It wasn't exactly a Jay Cargill attack. So yes,
what was the track?
Getting Away With It by Electronic. I think it appeared on like an album in 1991. So I think they took the time getting like
Single came out and then
single was out. Everyone loved the single, but because they were a bit of a super group, it was Neil Tennant, Johnny Marr, and I think it was your man from New Order as a trio. Maybe a couple of others are in there as well. But various people contributed various things. So the album took quite a while to get out. If I'm remembering correctly, I could be wrong about this.
Bernard Sumner,
thank you, yeah. I could be wrong about that, but I wasn't wrong about the release date, so I'm probably right about this too.
So what you're saying in the words of Michael Sidgwick is, where's my respect?
Where is my respect? It's an 80s song, and it's a really good one.
it is. Came out as a single in 1989, it says, yeah. Which I would have found if I had clicked past the initial, it's on the album that came out in 1981.
Yeah, there we go. It's a great record. Listen to it on Spotify on your lunch. I'm just saying, I was sick of people getting away with it 2 weeks ago. So I just wanted to address that now.
Fair.
Thank you.
One final thing we have to talk about
Healthy.
ahead of tonight's show, ahead of this weekend, perhaps even ahead of next weekend, is the return of Charlotte Flaaair. Teased last week. There's a lot of rumoured big returns coming. Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch's name has obviously been bandied around.
Yeah.
Nikki Bella's name actually coming up today. What are your thoughts on all of those returns? And do they announce Charlotte Flair beforehand, or is she a surprise on the night next week, or is she returning at Saturday night's main event to make her intentions known, or whatever? And I suppose, how does, factoring into all this, the champion handle it? That champion, of course, being after last week's brilliant main event, Timna Stedder.
Just Abed from Community on Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and who was the third one?
Alexa Bliss.
Oh, cool. Like, bring them all in. I'm game for all of this. Like,
Nikki Bella?
Nikki Bella was the one I was thinking of, not Alexa Bliss, but also cool. That's 4 cool, so it doesn't work. Did he say cool 3 times or 4? Anyway, 4
Well, you can do it if you do Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Cool.
Right, him. I haven't seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but yeah, cool.
That's good stuff. It's good stuff, isn't it, Nicholas?
Yes.
There you go. All I need.
We're trying to do 3 jobs here, lads.
Sorry.
Yeah. Come on, get involved in our nonsense. What was I going to say? Charlotte Flair getting the vignettes, I think, is inspired because everybody got really stressed last week. So you're building up some anticipation in that regard. Becky Lynch is a better surprise return.
Yeah.
I personally think. I mean, they could roll her out on Saturday night's main event or Raw ahead of the Rumble. We're a show each away now, aren't we? There's this SmackDown, then you've got Go Home, Raws and SmackDowns next week, and Saturday night's main
And
event.
fallouts, and yeah.
You can't forget the fallouts. You need them for bullets. So, yeah, I would keep Becky Lynch a surprise. I would keep Nikki Bella a surprise, and looks like there won't necessarily be the time to do any kind of promotion. Alexa Bliss seems up in the air because some stuff that's going on. So it's great that you got Charlotte Flair as a vignette one because she immediately becomes the favourite to win. Even if she's the least favourite.
Her and Roman on the poster just to wind people up a bit more.
That would feel like a flashback to a different time, wouldn't it? But I'm into it. I've missed Charlotte Flair, and I haven't said that sentence since she was temporarily gone from NXT in 2015. Like, I've really missed Charlotte Flair. She is a big stage, big match performer, one of the best they've got, even if the weekly television can often be so bad that it's funny. Like, I think there's a lot to like about Charlotte Flair when it matters, when the lights shine brightest. And if Triple H can be criticised for some of these SmackDowns in particular feeling like a bit of a waste of time, it's always in service of the big shows, the big stadiums, the big stages, always. So this booking, this style that he's got, especially with the women's division, which goes underserviced, always, at bare minimum, saves big stuff for the big nights. And that's Charlotte Flair's domain all day long.
I've heard some rumours that if what we think might happen happens, Charlotte Flair will be the babyface in the feud with Tiffany Stratton, which is going to be interesting to sell.
It's the move as well. Nah, it's the move. Tiffany Stratton's still a heel.
Yeah, but to set that up, I have a pitch for, let's say, tonight.
Okay.
Let's just bollocks it, because we've only got 2 bloody women announced right now for the Rumble. We need a lot more. And not...
Stable hand. Like working a stable, yeah?
No. Oh. What I was thinking is, let's have a obnoxious Tiffany Stratton promo. She comes out, I'm the goddamn best, right? Brags about beating Bayley, clean last week, of course. And then it's like, and now Bayley's going off to NXT, I've chased her after NXT, and now Jax is off and all that, right? But blah, 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 I'm the best. No one in this division is good enough to beat me.
I like that to this point, this could literally be Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks, yeah.
In everything you've just said.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, just copy and paste this for Wednesday. No one is good enough to beat me, so I done my guys in the Rumble.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you should get him.
You should get him, bro. Right? And I think Charlotte, if she's going to return, they probably do it on the go-home one. Like, Jesus, she's back and she's in the Rumble tomorrow night, sort of thing. Dread it, run from it. But the tease, right? I was thinking, like, what do you do? And there was like a diamonds thing, wasn't it? She was doing on social media. I was like, you could do that. The diamonds are girl's best friend. All that, whatever you want to do. Or the jacket.
Diamonds are forever, and so is Charlotte Flair.
Yeah. Ric Flair, robes. No.
Okay.
None of that. Audio tease. None's better than me. Right? Boom. All the lights go out. And all you hear, possibly in the main event of this show to send us home, but probably not, just as we go to a break. And then because the lights come back up, Tim's like, oh my God, I don't believe it. Right? No, right, I'll do it down here. This one.
There you go.
No one in back there is better than me, Tom Strong. Right?
That is your preposterous.
Right. Boom. Lights out.
Yeah.
The classic noise that lights make.
It's how the Costco guys are switching all the lights off in their house now. They haven't got like no flicking switches anymore.
What's weird?
Barrett's always contacting the electrician. I've broken all the lights on it. Boom! Ball hammer to turn the lights out.
He was ringing his Sparky. I'm afraid I've got some bad news. It's happened again.
I've got a bad fuse.
Bad fuse, Barrett.
Got a bad fuse.
Keeps banging his head on door frames because there's no light. Oh, bloody hell.
Oh. So, yeah. Oh, no, better than me. Lights out. Silence in the arena. And all you hear is... Uh-oh. Boom, lights back on. Oh, my God, here it's coming.
Here she comes.
It's our favourite Charlotte Flair bit. She had some great matches in her career, but that's the best thing she's ever done for me.
And everybody else is like, worst of the worst. It was in the period where her and Becky weren't on terms.
Becky's not ready, at
all.
I'm going to bury Becky some more.
Yeah, like it was 2 weeks after the belt switch or something. It was like, oh, this is as bad as the entire industry gets. Excellent. And yeah, us dickheads get on our YouTubes and type in Charlotte Flair. And marvel in it, yeah. Counter pitch?
Go on.
Tiffany Stratton, earlier in the episode, is parading the halls, chatting to anybody that listens that she's the best, and then happens to pass Andrade. And she's like, Andrade, you're not in my league. Don't even look at me. That kind of thing, right? And she's walking at the ring. And there's a reason why I've invoked Andrade. You'll realise in a second.
I'll work it out.
So she's in the ring. SmackDown's going to go off the air. Obviously, the famous sting of Charlotte Flair's music. Plays, and out she comes. That's how her music's always started.
Yeah.
Catchphrase for it, don't they? So,
Def Rebel. Charlotte Flair. She hasn't got a very famous theme.
So she walks out, huge pop, she's back, Rumble's tomorrow night. Everybody thinks they know where's this going. They don't. She, you think they're going to fight? She actually extends a hand to Tiffany Stratton, yeah.
Wow.
She takes the hand. She says, "Don't break my heart, Tiffany." And then appears to hand Tiffany Stratton a mystery item. And we have to wait nearly a year to find out what that might be.
2 number 31s in the Rumble.
Almost because that story's going spare now.
But, you know, looking ahead to this weekend,
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the table right now, nearly the end of the season, isn't it? And Port Vale's got a 9-point gap on Chesterfield. Uh-oh, you get battered! And we're going to be there, but let us know your thoughts ahead of SmackDown and Saturday night's main event in the comment section below.
And the Traitors.
And the Traitors,
And
yeah.
Chesterfield.
And
rub-offs and jobby jabbers.
I really thought you were going to do Charlotte Flair doing a jobby jabber. I thought that was going to be a bit. I did.
Rub-off!
let us know your thoughts in the comments or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there, you can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
You can follow our long-suffering producer Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas.
And you can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE and make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts, as Hamflett mentioned. Me and him predicting all 30 women, or 28 at least, that are going to be in the Women's Royal Rumble. Is going to be released as a podcast a little bit later on today. And we've got Wrestle Culture with a hashtag bloody good quiz. But for now, this has been the SmackDown preview, where, of course, we've talked about Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and Nikki Bella potentially returning going forward. Naomi's investigation continues. The Motor City Machine Guns versus Pretty Deadly. RIP the new Bloodline. And all the excitement ahead of Saturday night's main event.
The SmackDown preview. It's got me saying all this and so much more.
See you soon. Come on, Spy Rights!